Hello and welcome. I'm Tim, and this is TimBatSea. And as I've been saying for a while, our industry, the entire industry, is hiring, and we've had a whole rash of new hirees, and people from all walks of life, all ages, and everything. And I thought I'd put a video together to let you know. I can't speak for every captain out there, but I can speak for if you were coming on my boat. Here are some things I'm looking for from a new hiree. So this is somebody who probably is coming to us without any, you have to have your credentials to come, and those are the papers that you're going to need a TWIC card, you're going to need an MMC, you'll probably start as an OS, which would be an ordinary seaman, and after you get a whole bunch of sea time, then you can sit for your AB and that sort of stuff. Anyway, we are going to I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that I'm looking for that I hope to see. When you get hired by a company, you'll go and you'll train on another boat, and there's some things the captain, or in this case, there are some things I want to see from a new hiree. And so we have young Cameron over here. Cameron, Cameron's he was a new hiree a while ago, and we did really well. We got lucky with him. He comes from a long line of people that are familiar with the water, but I hope you don't mind me saying, but he's an 18-year-old kid, and he is taken to this wonderfully. In other videos, I've talked about people in the wheelhouse, that some people you don't have to give them much direction at all, and it just makes sense to them. Other people really want to do it, but you show it to them, and they can copy you, but they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. And in Cameron's case, he's been somebody that, even though a lot of people will say, am I too young or am I too old to get a job in this industry? And I really don't think that age is the issue. The issue is, are you okay with doing the job? And what I mean by that is that everybody wants to go to sea and go out and live life like a pirate, when in reality, you get somebody like Cameron, and Cameron has to be okay with basically cleaning heads and sweeping floors and doing that stuff. And you know what? Before anyone gets upset with that, you have to understand that's how I started too. I'm not an academy guy. I did what they call I'm a hawse piper. That means I started at the bottom and worked my way up through the top. And so here's just here in this video, I just want to tell you a few things that I'm looking for as a captain of somebody who's a new hire. And remember, there's two things that will really help out somebody regardless of their skills. One is a really good attitude, and the other thing is, can you cook? Everybody always wonders, everybody always thinks, oh, I have to know how to tie a bowl, and you have to know all that stuff. But if you can cook, a lot of your other crimes will be forgiven. Okay, assuming that you got all your credentials and you've been hired by a company and you're coming to work. And oh, by the way, if you haven't got your credentials and you haven't been hired yet, stick around to the end of the video, and I'll tell you how you can do that with a really easy process. But anyway, you show up to the tug. Everyone's a little nervous on their first day. They're not really sure what to expect and that sort of stuff. And it's important for you to remember that you're not the first guy. We've all come through there. Everybody that works there had a first day at one time, and you're going to be the same. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to teach you. But what I'm looking for as a captain is really the stuff that can't be taught. It's almost bred into you or not. And that's are you a worker? Can you take the initiative? Can you learn quickly and find out that something needs to be done? One of my favorite things I say is that a good deckhand does what he's told, but a great deckhand never has to be told. And obviously that comes with experience. You're going to have to learn all these things. But as you're going, people have this romantic idea of what it's going to be like sailing. A lot, as I said in other videos, many people come into this line of work and many people leave. It's not for everybody, but those of us that do find it a fit for our personalities and that sort of stuff really enjoy it. And it's a good thing to do. So you come over and you start as an OS, and what you really have to realize is that starting at the bottom, you're going to be doing a lot of the stuff that a lot of the people further up the ladder don't want to do anymore. And that involves things like cleaning. You're going to be scrubbing toilets. You're going to be cleaning the galley. You're going to be cooking. And if you can't cook, you really need to learn how. And there's been a few people that I've sailed with that couldn't cook anything when they started, and within a few years, they've turned into the most amazing gourmet chefs that you couldn't imagine. So, it sounds kind of silly, but this job is a good opportunity to build a lot of life skills. And these are life skills whether you're an 18-year-old kid like Cameron, or maybe you're a 45-year-old guy that just got divorced and has to start doing his own laundry and cleaning and cooking and all that sort of stuff. But at any rate, if you have these skills already that have nothing to do with boat life, as far as, people think, oh, I'm a good sailor. I know how to really clean a galley or really clean a head, or I know how to do the laundry. Well, believe it or not, that's what you're hired to do. So many people that watch my videos all want to be a captain. Nobody wants to be a deckhand. And I got news for you. It doesn't work that way. You got to start at the bottom and you do a job. And if you do a good job, then you get a better job. And then if you do a good job at that, you get a better job at that. And that might sound old-timey to some people, but that's how it really works. So the good news is that most of the skills that I've been talking about here are skills that that many of you already have. But the more you can do a good job of doing things like cleaning, we've had many deckhands that we didn't really like the work they did on deck, but they were so good at cleaning or they were so good at cooking, we gave them a little bit of leeway, and that worked out really well. So one of the things that I think it's really important today to say is the issue of what I call earning your stripe. So you're going to come onto a boat and it's going to have 4 or 5 other people that have already earned their stripe. They're part of the crew. They've proved their worth, and you want to do that too. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. You earn respect. It's not just given to you. And you might see a lot of people that might spend a lot of time on their phones. And that's something that a lot of people do, especially younger people today. And I got to tell you, your phone is going to get you fired. It's not that you can't use it, and it's not that other people on the boat aren't using it. It's that when you are a new hire, you have an evaluation period, and during that period, I'm not saying that you can't use your phone. You're going to be off watch for 12 hours a day, so you get 12 hours to use your phone. And if you have to take a call or whatever, most captains are pretty lenient about that. It's all right. They'll let you do it. But the kid that comes in off the street, sits in the galley, eats cookies and drinks soda and plays on his phone all day, nobody wants that guy. He's not going to get better. He's only going to get worse. And so just highly recommend that if you're starting out, regardless of your age, that's a big deal. And speaking of ages, I get a lot of comments, people saying, "Am I too old to do this?" I was a police officer for this long. Now I'm retired and I'm 55 years old, but I can bench this or do whatever. Look, it's not really so much about strength. Remember that we're about 5 or 6 guys that are living on a 100-foot steel island, and you really have to have what they call a strong EQ. Not just an IQ, but an EQ. You have to be able to get along with people, and you also have to be able to take orders from somebody that might be younger than your kids are. Cameron's 18. It wouldn't surprise me if he's captain before he's 25 years old. The kid's amazing. Anyway, if you're a 45-year-old guy and then you get a 25-year-old kid yelling at you because you didn't clean the head, a lot of people have a hard time. The older we get, the harder it is for us to be in that situation. And so it's not like it's hazing or anything like that. It's nothing like that. I'm just saying that things have to be said. And sometimes, there'll be people who say, "Oh, I was the commandant of my yacht club." You know what? You're going to be scrubbing heads and you're going to be chipping paint and you're going to be making dinner on a tugboat. It's just the way it is. You got to put your time in. If you don't want to, go to a maritime school for 4 years, and then go sailing. And then when the guys come out of maritime school, they go on deck too. So that's just the way it is. But anytime you could take the initiative, there's always work to be done. Your first day, you're going to be watching. And, one thing that we like to say is that you have, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. And that's a ratio that you should maintain. You should really make sure that you're hearing at least twice as much as you're talking. One thing I find is that a lot of new people in nervousness, they want to join the conversation. And remember, they haven't earned their stripe yet. They're not part of our family. Hopefully they will be. And I'm not saying that you can't speak to anybody. I'm just saying that when you come on a boat, nobody wants to hear your stories. And you really want to tell everyone, "Oh, when I worked on this boat, when I did this, I did that." Nobody cares about you until you're shown that you can be a valuable member to the crew. And that sounds really harsh, but I'm telling you, that's something that if you figure that out, that's going to be great. Another thing that you can do is that when you start, it's very common they move you from boat to boat to boat till they find a home for you. And each place you'll learn a different skill, different captain, a different way of doing things. And that's really good because it broadens your education. The thing that nobody wants to hear is, "Well, they did it this way on this boat." That's something that every new hire says, and it drives every mate, every AB, and every captain crazy. You're not on that boat, probably for a reason. But anyway, you're not on that boat, you're on this boat. And just because the old captain did it this way, you need to do it this way. Or the old captain did it that way, you need to do it my way. That might sound harsh, but that's just the way it is. Another thing is you're going to learn skills like throwing lines, and line throwing is something that it's funny because there was a guy out here that was 70 some years old, and he was a deckhand, and he's a little skinny guy. You wouldn't think he had a muscle on him. That guy could throw a line better than anyone else can. It's really, line throwing is really about a technique. It's not about strength. You see a lot of guys that are really shredded up and they can't throw a line. Anyway, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be strong. You're going to need some strength. You're going to need some upper body strength, but it's not as bad as you think it is. The big thing is anything that you do enough and you do it often enough, you're going to get better and better. At least you should. You hope that you will. But, this is a big boy job. So mommy's not going to tell you, "Hey, go clean the wheelhouse." If the wheelhouse gets dirty and you've already been assigned that that's your job to clean the wheelhouse or clean the upper head or clean the lower head or clean the galley, you're going to get yelled at 2 or 3 times. I've been in the business long enough that I'm sick of yelling at people. I'll tell you 2 or 3 times. On the 3rd time, after that, I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to move you off the boat. And so anytime you can pick up and do something, it's great. Victor, one of my best friends from Puerto Rico, he used to go, and anytime he didn't know what to do, he'd grab a mop and start mopping, and everybody loved him. Everybody went on wanted him because he was so, he's such a good worker. But that's about it. Keep your mouth shut, your eyes open, and try to keep working, and you'll do fine. And if you are interested in getting in this line of work, go and check out my buddy John's site, marinercredentials.com. I'll put some information up here for you. And see what he can take care of. You can do all this stuff without his help, but sometimes it's difficult navigating through everything. And John is awesome. He's not just some corporate thing. He's actually my relief. He's the captain when I'm on the sailboat. He's the captain on the boat over here, and John will walk you through and hold your hand to everything from everything you need to get licensed up or credentialed up to get on a boat. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like these videos or get something out of it, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And we'd love to see you over on Patreon. Leave a link in the description. I'll also leave a link in the description to my other channel, my sailboat channel. You guys take care, be safe, and as always, I'll see you on the one.